Steve Fisher joins us now live. It's always wonderful to catch up with the coach on the Mark and Rich show. Coach, how you doing? Excited to have you. What are your thoughts going into this college basketball season? I can remember at this time of year last year, everybody was sort of worried about the entire status of college basketball and whether or not it was going to topple because of court ongoing situations. What would you say about the health of the sport right now?
I think that the sport of basketball is in good shape. Obviously, with the arrests and the FBI getting involved and the two guys, the one Adidas rep and the other fella getting sentenced to prison, it draws everybody's attention. And there's still more things out there that are to be going to trial later in the spring. So we'll see where it takes all of us in terms of how deep or how much or how many coaches could or couldn't be involved. So that remains to be seen. But to be honest, most people right now, and until it becomes front page above the fold when something happens at a trial, are basically thinking about the season and business as usual and the teams and who's good, who can win a championship, and those sorts of things.
Coach, you're going to be on site at Illinois State Saturday as the Aztecs tip off against a team that you both played for and coached. You're a member of both these teams' Hall of Fame, so who are you rooting for?
Well, I'm an Aztec through and through. I'm going down there with my Aztec colors on, and there's only one team that I'm going to be cheering for in this game. I am a grad of Illinois State. Got great affection for the university. I had a wonderful experience there. But I will be going down to cheer hard for the Aztecs. I do cheer for Illinois State, but I will not be cheering for them on Saturday.
That's the correct answer.
Not only a correct answer, but I don't know if there's a wrong answer. Like, this has got to feel like something very few people will ever experience, to be at your alma mater where you've got so much history. As Rich said, member of the Hall of Fame. Now the Aztecs are out there, and your royalty with San Diego State. You know that. What emotionally will this experience be like?
You know, Mark, I'm going down for a whole host of reasons. I have all my family still living in Southern Illinois, a small town called Heron, where I grew up in. And I don't see them that often anymore, and they're all coming up to the game. So it will be a lot of fun for me to get in on Friday evening and spend some time with them, be with them at the game. I'm sure that I will see a number of people from Illinois State that I either went to school with, I know, I'm friends with. So it'll be a lot of fun. It will be an interesting afternoon. Illinois State, in terms of their team, I'm impressed with them. I subscribed last night to ESPN Plus just so I could watch Illinois State versus BYU on my phone. And they had a big crowd. They beat BYU in overtime. And I hadn't watched much tape on them, but I was impressed with Illinois State's team. They're athletic. They're 6-2 now. They're very, very good at home. So it will be a tough ball game for us against a very athletic, good basketball team.
You know, Steve Fisher joining us, and you said something there that's so interesting to me because I had a similar experience. I hadn't got cable set up when I moved back to San Diego, and I'm in an apartment. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to watch Thursday Night Football, and I realized that Twitter, the social media platform, was airing football. So I'm sitting there walking around the house looking at my cell phone. Technology has advanced so far during your time as a head basketball coach and now afterward. How much easier is it to actually be a head basketball coach now than it was when you were first doing this?
I would say, Rich, it's a lot harder now, to be honest with you. When I first started, no games were on TV to speak of. You had the 3 networks, and you'd get games that you'd get highlights from. You could play a game when I was at Western Michigan as an assistant, or Michigan as an assistant, or even as a head coach, nobody could see it. So you lose a game at Iowa, you could tell, oh, we got cheated by the referees. Nobody would know the difference. And today, everybody knows your business before you do. With social media, there are no secrets. You can't have issues with your team without the whole world knowing. When you played, there were times probably when things happened that you were able to deal with them in-house. That doesn't happen anymore. Everybody knows your business, and it makes it that much more difficult from that standpoint. But the technology to get every single thing you want, you can say, I want every shot that so-and-so takes on the right side of the floor, and within 30 seconds you've got that where you can look at it, you can show your players what you want. So the technology can be extremely beneficial if you use it. You can't overload your players, but it's helpful for everybody.
Coach, you won't need to download any apps to watch Kawhi Leonard tonight. He's on national TV against the Warriors, and I wonder to what level you're following his play this year. Is anything surprising to you? And have you caught up with him since he's gotten started with Toronto? I wonder if he's liking it up there.
I am a Kawhi Leonard fan. I know you're aware of that. And
yes.
Until he went to Toronto, I did not watch Toronto. Very little. I saw him a little bit in the playoffs when they got swept by Cleveland last year. Didn't pay a lot of attention. This year, anytime I can watch, I do. And I am immensely impressed with their team. He adds a great dimension to the ball club, but they're good. Kyle Lowry, their point guard, is absolutely sensational. And I saw Kawhi for the first time live as a pro when I went up to Sacramento to see Toronto play the Sacramento Kings. I went up with the Jacobs family. I sat right next to the Toronto bench. So even though I didn't go over and talk to Kawhi, I exchanged eye contact and smiled, and I watched as he played, and I'm very, very proud of what he's doing. I think he and they are being pretty careful. Right now, he's not playing back-to-back games, I don't think. Play on Friday, he's not going to play on Saturday, as they want to make sure that he's completely recovered from his injury. But he has added a great deal to this team. And I would say right now what I saw Klay Thompson say, this might be a preview of the NBA Finals. I think he's paying homage to Toronto because everybody thinks that the Warriors will be there. But the Toronto Raptors are a really, really good basketball team.
I agree with you. I really do. I just watching the Kawhi and how he's looked out there. He's having statistically one of his better years offensively, and he always plays great D as well. I want to ask you a question about San Diego State, but from this perspective. I'm raising two sons. One's 3 years old, one's 4 months, and I'm in charge of household decisions. But one day they're going to go out and they're going to run households of themselves. And I know for me that gives me anxiety. Even thinking, we're talking about years away, for forever, for 20 years or so. You had Brian Dutcher on your staff, and he's sitting next to you, and he's helping you make decisions. But you're the guy. Now you have to watch him grow and stumble and have his successes and failures. Does this feel like you sort of set loose a kid into the world and sort of see how he does with his responsibilities now as a head coach?
Well, I follow extra close because Brian Dutcher is the head coach, and we have been friends. Our families have grown up together in this business, starting in 1988 when we were both assistants at Michigan. Our wives became friends. We together have watched 3 of our 4 children be born. And so we are much more than coaching colleagues. So from that, I sometimes get extra nervous when he's on the bench. But I think he was destined to be a coach. He grew up in a family where his dad was a long-time head basketball coach at Eastern Michigan and University of Minnesota. an assistant at one time at Michigan, and he grew up in the game. He knows the perils and pitfalls. His dad, resigned at one job at Eastern Michigan after a big fight, and resigned after an issue at Minnesota. So he knows the not so good glamorous side of it. I think he's more than ready to be that head coach, and he has done and will continue to do a great job. But a little more anxiety when he's there than if that were just another coach that I knew but didn't really, really know. And you're talking about your two kids eventually running the household. I've got Mark's son, who's our little grandson, who'll be 5 on December the 14th. He thinks he's running the house right now. So he's moving in that direction too quickly.
Yeah. Tell you what, maybe I may have overstated my importance in the household. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I don't know about you. I got 3 kids. I'm 5th in my house in terms of importance. There's not. I mean, and that is very clear. So, Steve, it's always wonderful to have you. Thank you for doing it. Congrats on what's going to be a really cool weekend for you. We appreciate you always.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you guys. Love your station, and looking forward to going back to Illinois State and hoping that I will watch our Aztecs bring back a victory to San Diego.